evening, everyone. We are going to start this workshop, City Commission Workshop, January 9th, 2024, Daytona Beach Shores. Sherry, can you please take a roll?
Mayor Miller?
Here.
Vice Mayor Politis?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
So we are here today. As you can tell, I'm sitting in a different seat because a couple people are missing. So we had the resignation of Commissioner Lindauer. We knew about that at our last meeting. And then after that time, Commissioner Bryan turned in his resignation too. That's public record, and both of them are due to Form 6 that you probably know about. It's a financial disclosure form that the state approved probably at the last session. So that affected people, and that is their priority if they would like to turn in their resignations. That is not the only one from Volusia County. We've had several. But anyway, that brings us to here today. So I am going to read over in our charter. So this is the process that we are going to follow to fill those vacancies. So in our charter, section 2.05, filling of vacancies. The unexpected term of a vacated seat of a commissioner or the mayor shall be filled at the next municipal general election to be held by the Volusia County Supervisor of Elections when held in odd years, or the next state general election to be held in November of even years. For the interim period until the general election at which a vacancy in the office of a commissioner or a mayor, vacancies in the office of commissioner or mayor shall be filled within 30 days by the appointment of a successor by the majority vote of the remaining members of City Commission. So right now, that means there's 3 of us. So in order to have a majority, when 2 people bring up a name and those go forward, that would be the majority, although I will be voting on that. If the majority of the remaining members of the City Commission fail to fill the vacancy through an appointment with the 30-day period, a special election to fill the vacancy shall be called and held in a manner coordinated by the city clerk with the supervisor of elections and adopted by the resolution of the City Commission. Should the City Commission fail to provide for an election within the time required by the charter, such election may be ordered by any court of competent jurisdiction. Qualifying for candidates for a special election to fill a vacancy shall be same as provided for regular selections in this charter. Any successor who fills a vacancy, whether by appointment or election, must have and possess all of the qualifications established in this charter for the office being filled. So as you can see right now, it is very vague on how we do this. It just says appointment of a successor. So we had one time since I've been the mayor here, somebody, our Commissioner Chris Conamos, filled in for a term by someone that resigned. As that turned out, it's a different circumstance. So this is something different than we've ever done before. So I am going to rely heavily on you, our city attorney, to lead us into what the process is. So before you go on, so whatever process that we decide today, we're not going to vote on it, but that will be in our city council meeting or commission meeting, then that will be approved at that time. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
What else do you have to add?
Okay, well, because this is a workshop, we can't make any formal decisions.
Okay.
So the decisions will be made at the next meeting at 6. And under Daytona Beach Shores Charter, you've only got 30 days to accomplish this, which is a really short period of time.
So time is of the essence.
Absolutely. We have until January 27th that's basically the drop dead time, to fill these 2 seats, or else the taxpayers will have to pay for a special election, which can be very expensive.
We're talking over $10,000, my understanding is.
That is my understanding too. So we're trying to avoid that. It makes me a little skittish, since in order to have a quorum, all 3 of the elected officials of the city have to be present at a meeting. And particularly this time of year when the flu is going around, all kinds of, COVID's still going around, I'm hesitant to put it off to January 27th, although we could do that. But if one of y'all is sick, we're going to be stuck with a special election. So I had written a memo that talked about the different qualifications of people, and essentially any person that you would appoint would have to be a qualified elector in the city, and they have to have resided within the city in the last 6 months, for at least 6 months. And they, that's basically it, a qualified elector of the city, living here for.
Can I clarify what a registered elector is? So if I'm registered to vote, do I need to be registered in Daytona Beach Shores?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And do I need to have voted in the last election?
No.
All right, so
No.
can you clarify a little bit more?
Okay, it's just somebody who is registered to vote with the Volusia County Supervisor of Elections, and you have to have lived within Daytona Beach Shores for the last 6 months.
All right, and I see one other
So-
qualification is that you must be 18 years of old.
Oh, yeah, and you've got to be a citizen of the United States and all those things, but those are requirements in order to be an elector.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
so just boil down, it's those qualifications. So if, at the last meeting, we really only thought there was gonna be one opening.
Correct.
So that gave us more time for flexibility and that sort of thing. But if you were to decide, and I guess today, right at this meeting, we need to talk about and make some have some preliminary discussions about how we're actually going to accomplish this. If we're going to accomplish it today, at the next meeting, then we need to talk about how you're going to discuss the people who might be brought up as possible candidates. If you're going to wait and kind of roll the dice and, hope all of you are healthy and everything and come to the next meeting, there could be a different process. So I do know from talking with the mayor that she received 6 phone calls.
If I can go over that a little
Okay.
bit. So I actually spoke to 8 individuals.
Oh, okay.
8 individuals, 2 of them definitively told me, because I want to be fair to everyone. I don't think people understand how restrictive and how inclusive Form 6 is. So anyone that reached out to me, I made sure that I told them about that. After the 8 that I talked to, we were down to 6. Okay, so what I did with that process was all 6 of those, I gave them the option. I reached out to the vice mayor and to Chris Conamos, our commissioner, and said, there are individuals that would like to speak with you. What number do you want to reach them on? And that was the end that I did. I provided the phone numbers for both of those. I don't know of the 6, how many actually reached out, because that would have been a violation. So that's where we stood on that. I'd like to also ask our city manager, do I understand, city manager, that you had people that reached out to you?
Yes, myself and the city clerk's office, and we did the same thing. We basically said the commission would be working on a process during this workshop, that if they were interested in the position, to reach out to the 3 remaining members of the commission and discuss their individual interest with each of the remaining members.
So I did have a discussion with all 8, and basically, unless someone changed their mind and I don't know about it, I'm open to filling out Form 6. So we either have 6 or 8 people that I would say have interest. Now, there's someone else that could have reached out to the vice mayor or to our commissioner ahead of me, but but I feel, I'm probably can't talk about, but I feel like they would have done the same thing too, had the conversation, and then said you also need to speak to the mayor.
Okay. Possibly the first thing we need to decide is, do you want to make the decision tonight, or do you want to postpone the decision? Because there'll be a different process if we postpone the decision.
If we can start with Vice Mayor?
Oh, no, we're all here. I mean, the purpose of the workshop is to, one, make sure everyone who's a potential appointee has the qualifications, and number two, the process of which, how we're gonna appoint them, and then we'll follow up with this meeting at 6 o'clock, where we'll actually make the formal motion, and that way we avoid a special election and avoid our residents paying or funding for that. They make common sense. I'm ready to go today.
Okay.
We just want to make sure. Commissioner?
I agree, I think we need to do it today, but now, I had 3 people reach out to me, and I spoke with 3 individuals, and I'd like to thank all 3 of them. They are, each have their own unique qualifications. But one thing I would like to do, if we can, is, I know we haven't really set a procedure for how we're gonna do this tonight, that's why we're here, but if we can, I would like to hear from the candidates, maybe for 3 minutes each, put them on a timer, and just have them go through their qualifications again. Why do
I
they want
agree.
to
I
be
think that's fair. I
city
agree.
commissioner? And, because they may have thought of something else to tell us that they didn't last time.
Sure, give everyone the peek.
Now, am I permitted to tell you who I actually spoke to?
I think would probably be better, well, I was going to say, is it some, okay, go
No,
ahead.
that's okay, I don't have.
That's part of the process.
Okay.
Now, we're supposed to be here, what's the discussion of the procedure? Okay, I think the interviews are a great idea. I've seen that done in a lot of places, and you can get a pretty good feel for somebody in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever y'all want.
I only spoke to 3 people, so I don't know that there's even anybody else interested, and frankly, I'm actually a little surprised, because I thought of 2 or 3 other people that might have been interested or expressed an interest, and I didn't hear from them. So Mayor Miller just said she had heard from 8 originally and then 6. So I don't know who those individuals are, so if they are here, I would like to hear from them as well. We need to make an informed decision, so.
Okay, well, and I think that probably it would be appropriate to do that at the regular meeting, unless you want to do it here in the workshop. I mean,
My opinion is, and first of all, we didn't ask Mayor Miller. I presume you're in agreement to allow us to do the procedures and what we're gonna do in this workshop, and then go ahead and do the formal motion and acceptance at the meeting.
Okay, and that is exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't have it in mind, but again, to be fair to everyone, I talked to everyone. I didn't know how many had called you, Vice Mayor, I didn't know how many had called you. So I have talked to everyone, gotten their qualifications, and did some probing questions. It probably is only fair if you hear, I don't think all 6 are here today.
No, there's
Yeah.
4 people.
All right.
But to answer your question, Madam City Attorney, and I like what Chris said, the 4 people that have expressed interest in becoming a city commissioner are here. So I think it's fair that we hear, and I think it's great that we limit it to 3 minutes, and then it'll get us to refine our decision-making process, and then we can start that process of saying who we'd like to appoint at the upcoming city commission meeting at 6.
Okay, so clarification again from me. So right now, and I feel if we're going to talk to the people and it's only 3 minutes each, I'd rather do that now. Do we need to set the process? Yes, do we need to set the process though? So define for me what the process is going to look like. Have we defined that yet? Again, I just want to make sure that we're fair, and I would like you to ask the question, City Attorney. Our charter, the way it is that we do that we appoint someone.
yes.
So is that pass the sniff test for the state mandate?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so the way that you feel like we're handling it so far, and at the end of it, I'd like your legal opinion. Yes, you did everything according to your charter.
Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you. So is it interviews next, or if you define the process that we're using?
I think that, I think it would be appropriate to do the interviews now, and I don't don't know if you want to do it in alphabetical order.
I think that would-
Maybe people could, raise their hand and say their name if they're interested, and it wouldn't just be 4 people. If there are more people out there who are
Anyone else
interested.
that's
And because
interested?
potentially, even just because they didn't speak to us, doesn't mean they can't still put their name in the ring right now, or
Absolutely.
weren't interested before and want to do it now.
So I guess I'll ask right now, if I could see a show of hands who is interested in the position. Okay, all right, yes, I do see 4
Okay.
hands.
All right.
4 hands today. So at this point, the other 2 that I spoke to that are not here tonight, does that mean, it doesn't mean they're out of the running. It could be that somebody could still nominate them. Is that correct?
You can nominate anyone at
Okay.
the meeting.
Okay, all right,
I
so,
mean, as long as they're qualified.
okay.
Yes, nominate the man in the moon.
Okay, great. So looking out there, I'm pretty familiar with all 4 with the names. So, Mr. Card, I think you would be up first if we're going alphabetical. If you could come up for 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Mark Card. I live at 125 Key Colony. One of the questions I was asked is why did I want to be in the commission? And I live here. I love this area. I'm also a business owner in this area. I've been in business here 25 years, and ultimately, the Shores has been very good to me. So it's a time that I'd like to give back. I think I have the professionalism, the integrity, the compassion, and I think this commission deserves to have that, and the people demand it.
Any other outside, I know most of the people talking, so would it be okay if I add something on? Okay, so one of the things that I like about Mr. Card was that we are very, very involved in this community, in the Port Orange Chamber as well, Port Orange, South Daytona, we've recently annexed in. We recently had one of our employees, Gwen, attend the leadership conference, and I know in that leadership conference that she went around to several governments to understand how they work, the public works, and everything along that way. Is it my understanding that you were also a graduate, not in the same class as Gwen, that you were a graduate from that?
That's correct.
Okay.
In 2022, I graduated from the class.
Okay, great. Okay, and is it true that you went around to different governments?
I did.
Okay, all right. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Card?
At this time, we find out, make sure the qualifications are there, or has someone already vetted that?
Okay.
No, I don't think anyone
Okay, and
has.
how long have you been a resident? I know you had a previous residency in Daytona Beach Shores, but this particular time, Mr. Card, how long have you been a resident?
Yeah, I purchased my most recent home in December of 2022.
Okay, great, okay. And then are you a registered voter in? Okay, great. Anything else? Commissioner Economist, anything else?
Where is your office located? I know you're a business owner. Where do you?
There's 4 offices, but my office is in Port Orange on Dunlawton. I also have another office right here in Daytona Beach Shores.
And what did, and you're in the real estate business, I understand, right?
Correct.
What did you do before the real estate business?
Previously, when I came out of high school, I went into fire college. I was an EMT firefighter. I have a degree in fire science management. That's my background, my first career.
Okay, great. If there's no other questions, Vice Mayor, anything else?
I'm going to try and cover the criteria in the statute, so that way there isn't any issue. Mr. Carr, just a few more questions. You're a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
Legal resident of the state of Florida?
Yes, sir.
Legal resident of Volusia County?
Absolutely.
And no felony convictions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
We'll skip the age one, we might guess on that. Thank you, Mr. Card. And I think if I'm going alphabetically, Mr. Dubinsky?
Good evening, everybody. Most of you know me, but my name's Stefan Dembinski. I am retired public safety director for about 25 years here in the city of Daytona Beach Shores. I've been retired for a little over a year now. 145 South Atlantic Avenue. I meet all the criteria that Commissioner Politis was asking about. I've lived here since May of 1998. I'll never leave. This is my city. I'm proud of it. I'm happy with the way things were going in the city. I couldn't see anything bad happening. However, I'm devastated by the resignation of the two commissioners. I've always felt that stepping up to help is my calling. I'm happy to step up. I'm not, I know the city, obviously. I care very deeply about this city. I'm currently serving as the board president of our condo, and I'm a volunteer investigator with the state attorney's office. So I'm trying to understand that I have to give back. It's just been my whole life, and I have absolutely no problem. If the city commission wants me on it, I'll be glad to serve. I'll do the absolute best I can. This is very important to me, and I love the city. I don't need 3 minutes to tell you how much I love the city. You know that. But thank you. Any questions?
I'm sorry, can you tell me where you moved from? You?
I moved out of Miami in 1998, and I've never looked back. I don't like going back. I love it here. I love the beach. Not happy what's going on in the beach, but I love the beach. I just love living here, and I'll be here till I'm not anymore.
And one other thing, is it my understanding that at one time you were the temporary city manager?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was the city manager back in, I don't remember, it might have been 2002 maybe, for about 6 months until we could hire the same city manager, Mike Booker, back, and I was happy to have him back. I've had a lot of experience in city government, obviously. I've been in public service since I was in college, and that's my life.
So with that being said, you have a pretty good understanding of how Daytona Beach Shores specifically operates.
Yes, I do. I've worked with most of you for years. The city is run very well. It's run ethically and morally, otherwise I would not be stepping up. My ethics are beyond reproach as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't do anything that would harm any reputation of anybody in the city or myself. And quite frankly, I think the city, little institutional knowledge is not a bad thing, and I'll help in any way I can if I'm selected.
Okay, thank you. What other questions do we have for Mr. Dubinsky? Vice Mayor?
I don't have any questions.
No
Commissioner?
questions.
Okay, thank you very much for your interest. We appreciate it. Okay, Ms. Grimes, I think you're next.
I wrote my resume. I don't know if it's allowed for me to give it out.
Certainly, I don't see a problem with that. Absolutely. How many,
Here's my credentials that
Okay.
show that I'm a registered voter.
how many copies do you have of that resume?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey, I think, if you can give one to our city manager, would you like one as well?
Jared can.
Okay.
Actually, if you just give them to the clerk.
Okay.
I was trying to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you want one?
Sure. Thank you.
There's one more.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So my name's Ashley Grimes, and I live at 2 Oceans West, Unit 402. And I was born at Halifax Hospital, so I'm a native Floridian. I've lived in the shores for over 12 years. I never thought I'd be running for anything. I was one of those people that wanted to stay in the back, not use my voice. Through the last few years, I've learned that our voices are important, and when we don't use our voices, other people's voices don't get heard. So when I heard that there was 2 vacancies, and I saw that there was not enough female representation on the board, there also wasn't a lot of youth representation. I thought, well, maybe there was a place for me on the board where I could help some voices that wouldn't be heard or hadn't been heard. I'm a single mother of a 14 and a 15-year-old. I have an MBA. I have a PMP. I'm a certified peer recovery specialist. I went to my first MBA school. I would have been voted the least likely to stand in front of anybody. I was so scared of presentations. And then I ended up graduating from Jack Welch. and I've spoken in several states. I'm the executive director for NAMI Florida. I'm not sure if anybody knows NAMI, but we're the National Alliance for Mental Illness. We have 24 affiliates throughout the state. And I've learned that giving back and listening to others and serving others is what makes me happy and what fulfills my life. So that's why I'm running.
Thank you. Okay, and either reading it over or speaking with you, so I'm going to add some things that maybe you didn't talk to anyone else. Right now, I am the advocacy chair for Volusia County, and I understand you did some advocacy work up in Tallahassee, is that correct?
I've helped write 5 different bills. I was named number 30 in the Power Healthcare Top 100 last year. I'm going to Tallahassee on the 17th. I'll be in there for a few days. So I do a lot in Tallahassee, just trying to that's part of, NAMI is making advocacy for people with mental health conditions.
And then one follow-up on that too, just, that I would like to connect and have a further conversation on that. So right now, I am the president-elect of the Florida League of Mayors, but our president that is there right now has brought 3 initiatives forward. One of them is mentorship, one of them is veterans, and the third one is mental health. So, that falls right in line. We know that we need help in that field, and we're doing whatever we can. So I commend you on that. Thank you for that. What other questions do we have, Vice Mayor?
Just a few. Ashley, Ms. Grimes, I apologize. We had previously asked the other people of their qualifications. I'll just go through them real quick. Are you a registered elector?
Yes.
6 months residency in Daytona Beach Shores?
Yes.
Citizen of the United States?
Yes.
Legal resident of the state of Florida?
Yes.
Legal resident of Volusia County?
Yes.
And I applaud you for the efforts you went through to present what you presented to us to review your resume and your letters of recommendations. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anything else?
No questions.
Okay,
Thank you.
and I don't have anything else. Thank you very much for your interest and being here this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
You're welcome. Mr. Offerman?
Please, Ed is acceptable. I'm Ed Offerman, 3311 South Atlantic, Unit 1403. Thank you, councilmen or councilors or commissioners, for the opportunity to speak with you. I've been very interested and I've been very active in community affairs for a number of years. I wanted to first talk about my skills and how my skills relate to the experience that I can talk about a little later as well, but how those skills translate to a good commissioner. I'm an excellent communicator with strong interpersonal and public relations media skills. I've made public relations as a public information officer or as a candidate. I've made presentations and have made appearances on local television in Cleveland, Ohio, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Orlando, Florida. I have served as a PIO, right? And I am familiar with government positions at all levels, local, county, state, and federal. As a local, in both volunteer and paid positions. I was an elected town councilman in Fishers, Indiana, a town of 76,000, which is in one of the donut counties of Indianapolis, and is a council manager form of government when I served on council. When I left council, there was an election, which I supported this initiative to become a full-fledged city versus a town, which meant we would have a full-time elected mayor and would go to a mayor council form of government rather than a council manager form of government. But that wasn't my experience. It was only the experience working for passage of that initiative. On my education, I have a BS in marketing and business and an MS in National Resource Management from the National Defense University in Washington, D.C. I am a graduate of the Ohio Attorney General Peace Officer Training Course, i.e. the Police Academy, and have served as a part-time police officer in Haynesville, Ohio, and a graduate of the U.S. Army Special Agent Counterintelligence Course and served for 17 years as a Special Agent Counterintelligence with Arrest Authority. Some of the positions that I've held, some of the civic positions, including some volunteer positions, I'm currently a commissioner of the Volusia County Racing and Recreation Commission, appointed by the county council. I'm also currently the vice president of my condominium, the Condominium Owners Association, Tamucci Twin Towers, down the street. Previously, before moving here in Indiana, I was an appointed commissioner of the Indiana Emergency Response Commission, appointed by the governor, at that time, a guy by the name of Mike Pence, so you might recognize his name. I've served as a mentor in the Hamilton Southeastern School District in Fishers, Indiana, and as an appointed board member of the Hamilton County Community Corrections Board, appointed by the county circuit court. On the civic side, I've also served as a board member for the Salvation Army Indiana Division. All of those positions were all appointed positions were non-paid. I've also served in paid positions, as I mentioned, as a public information officer for the Ohio Department of Transportation, District 12 in Cleveland, Ohio. And I served as a board member of the Lake County, Ohio Metropolitan Housing Authority. I'm a federal employee. I'm a retired federal employee, which limited a lot of the political activity that I was allowed in. And my last position was as deputy director for the state of Indiana for the Defense Contract Management Agency, where I had over 200 defense contractors that my staff and I managed. I think I mentioned I was clerk of court in Willoughby, Ohio. So again, a law enforcement tie, a legal tie, but more of a local government tie. There's a long list that I think some of you people know of, but I won't bore you with any more. So with that, are there any questions that any of the commissioners or the mayor have?
And, I think you stated one of the things, when I first took over as mayor, I don't feel like we had the greatest relationship with Volusia County. That's very, very important to me. I've built that relationship along with the city manager, and that's something that I want to continue to do. I always say we need them more than they need us, so I was glad to hear that you had said about your appointment to Volusia County. Thank you for doing that and maintaining the relationship. We are right on the beach that is controlled and maintained by Volusia County. So we absolutely need to continue to build that relationship. So thank you for doing that.
Sure, and I would like to mention then, along that line, that I'm also I'm a consensus believer. I believe in reaching consensus, and even when there are times that I may not fully support a position, if it's in the best interest of the citizens and my fellow commissioners, and sometimes the county council or state reps, whomever they may be, I can live with things that I might not agree with 100%.
Thanks, Mayor.
I can, instead of going through the list of questions, I presume you have all the qualifications that I previously asked the other candidates?
Absolutely. I've lived in Daytona Beach Shores since 2017. Registered voter in the county, which means that I am over 18. I am a citizen of the United States, and I have no disability such as any felony convictions.
Thank you.
Any
No.
other follow-up question?
No.
Okay, Commissioner?
No questions, thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much for your interest today.
Thank you,
All
Commissioner.
right, thank you. And I believe this was you, Commissioner Economos, that had asked about the interviews. Was it you that brought up you'd like to interview? Fantastic idea, and thank you for bringing it up. I'm glad we followed through on that. I thought I knew a lot about all four candidates, but I learned a little bit more today, so I appreciate that. So Becky, are we at the part right now that, I'm just gonna go over my understanding, what I feel like the process will be, if it is approved by the council at the meeting.
Right.
So that would be just that, the members of the commission would bring forth a name that they would like to appoint. Is that correct?
One person would make a motion.
Make a motion, okay. Motion for the name, okay. All right, any questions on the process that we're gonna be following? Vice Mayor? No? Okay. All right, So for the purposes of this workshop, is there anything else that we need to discuss?
There is a specific motion that I suggested.
Actually, I do have a question.
Okay.
What if more than 2 people were nominated?
Are you saying like if you bring forth two names, could they bring forth 2 names? Or yes, that's a good question. How would that work? And
I would think that the motion, someone would make a motion to appoint one person to a particular seat.
remember, we have 2
Because
seat
there are
openings.
2 different
2 and 3.
seats.
Okay, so I am going to probably ask for the seat 2, do I hear a motion? Is that correct?
That makes sense.
All right.
I didn't I didn't know if Mayor Miller was gonna, is it gonna be Mr.?
I would,
Vice Mayor and
yeah, I
myself
think
that
it
are
would
gonna
just be
appoint?
both of you. And now remember too, in all practicality, if Vice Mayor brings forth a name and then I ask, he brings forth the motion and you second it, that's a done deal because we need, I will vote, but that is all that I'm doing this evening.
Okay.
Okay?
So you will not be appointing anybody?
No.
That's great, okay.
Okay, and then we'll do the same thing for seat 3. All right, so going back to that question, so Vice Mayor can bring up a name for seat 2, and then would we alternate and have the commissioner go first for seat 3? I want to make sure we're completely clear on the process, so if you can.
Correct. And y'all need to decide who do you want to have make the motion first? And which seat do you want to have?
So the vacancies are seats 2 and 4?
2 and 3.
Or 3?
2 and 3.
Okay, 2 and 3. Well, first of all the candidates,
Or more than
Are we doing that now, or do we have to wait till the regular meeting?
Oh, no, they can talk.
we
They
can
can
talk
talk.
now, because at the meeting, then it'll be the formality.
Right.
I thought we were going to make our decisions in the workshop.
No.
We can't work on, yeah.
We're making the decision as far as the process in the workshop.
Yes. We're only.
So the formality of the motion will occur at the meeting.
Right,
Yes.
okay, so we're talking about it right now, but I still need a motion. I'm gonna ask for a motion to accept this process that we're gonna use, if you choose.
And I so move to accept this.
No,
pro-
not now.
That'll be at the meeting.
The regular meeting, okay.
Regular meeting, okay, so.
It's confusing me.
Oh, I'm sorry, and
No worries.
anyone else that's out there too, I explained at the beginning of the meeting, this is a new process for us. Our code right now is very vague, so that's why I want to make sure, 100% sure that we are following our code, that's the number one thing, and that we're in compliance with the state, and our city attorney has assured me that we are in both.
Yes.
All right. So,
Mayor, if I can just add one thing to that, as has been discussed, we went ahead and by the charter, the city manager puts the agenda together. Right. And so in discussions with the attorney, we added the 2 items that you see tonight that you'll actually be voting on at the meeting. 1 for the process, 2 for the appointments. It's items A and B under new business. And we did that because this commission in the past has said we won't take action on items that are not agended. So we put an agenda item out there for appointment with blanks in it, not sure what would come from the workshop, but we wanted to be prepared based on this commission's wish to only vote on agended items.
Right.
and that's a very good point. Early on in my career as a mayor, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we did vote on something that wasn't on the agenda. I heard loud and clear from my residents that they did not want that to happen again. I made a commitment that I hope I've honored these past 4.5 years, that we have not done that at all. If it's not on the agenda, we are not going to vote on it. Okay. Anything else we need for the purpose of this workshop?
Okay, I did craft a
Do you
A
see that
motion.
on page 8 of 9?
Yes.
yes.
So that would be
And
the
it
process
says-
you'd like to have us
Yeah, I
follow.
move to appoint blank as city commissioner to fill the vacant seat, and insert 2 or 3 for an approximate 10-month term ending on November 12th, 2024. So that it's very clear, what the term is.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions for our city attorney while we're still in this open forum of a workshop?
probably would be good to talk, since we're talking process. Do y'all, of the two of you, do you want to decide who's going to make the first motion and for what seat, and who's going to make the second motion for what seat? You don't need to say who it's going to be.
Right, no, I'll do the first motion for C2.
Okay.
Is it okay if you do the second motion for C3? Okay. And actually, the more I think about it, if something happens at that and we are not able to complete the process with those, then do I have to turn the gavel over for a nomination?
Well, if you want to nominate somebody, you would.
Okay, all right, okay, that's
It
why I would
sounds-
prefer, yeah, okay, all right.
I mean, from
That's what I was
I'm
thinking
hearing,
too, that,
we've
yeah,
got really good qualified people.
okay, all right.
So, and I don't think we'll lack for
Okay.
motions.
All right, great, I just wanted to clarify that too, so. Any last minute questions, even a city manager, do you have?
Just a comment for the public's knowledge. You mentioned this is a roughly 10-month term. The replacements for the seat 2 full term and seat 3 half term will be in the November 5th election, to be seated in the Shores on November 12th. But those elections, in one way, it doesn't matter who we put in seat 2 or seat 3 tonight. It doesn't mean they automatically get
Absolutely.
that seat. They would, if they want that, they have to run and qualify in, I believe it's June for qualification.
Sherry, can you look up that date for me, please? Is it the third Friday of the month? If you don't have it right now, just get it back to us.
So both of these appointments are for that same term until the next general election. And seat 2 is the 4-year term, seat 3 is the 2-year term.
I believe, Mayor, it's from noon, Monday, June 10th, through noon, Friday, June 14th.
Okay, but someone can apply before that date.
They can, but
Okay.
that is the qualifying week.
Okay, all right, and that is done through you as our city clerk in conjunction with supervisor of elections. Okay, when we are in the meeting, you know, this is a public forum, so when we do bring up any of the names that they're nominating, again, it will be open for public comment, if anyone have any comment at that time. So, you know that. So, okay, we have about 15 minutes left. This was supposed to be at a 4:30, but I thought, oh, we'll get this done in about 15 or 20 minutes. But I can't tell you again how pleased I am with the process that we went through. Felt like it was very informative. I not only knew a little bit more about the candidates, I think some of our residents too. We have people that are, I'm sure, listening online that have learned a little bit more about you. You know, I get this comment all the time. Sometimes it's not easy being a public servant. So I commend each and every one of you for wanting to step up to the plate to help the city that I know you each profess that you love so much. So thank you again, I appreciate it. Anything else? If not? Commissioner?
Well, I just want to thank all 4 candidates, and I tell you, it's a tough decision. It's going to be a tough decision. You all bring something a little bit different in your experiences to the table, and I want to commend you and thank you for being willing to do this, especially now that Form 6 is going to be required, because we lost 2 outstanding city commissioners because of that very reason. So, and I completely understand their decision, but it makes it that much more difficult for now, I think, for people to step up, you know, because a lot of people throughout the state have resigned their positions specifically because Form 6. So thank you all for your willingness to do that, and really greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor, any closing comments?
Yeah, just briefly, okay, there's 4 people here, we're gonna fill 2 seats, so obviously 2 people are not going to be appointed. Don't be discouraged. I encourage you to go ahead, if you still have your willingness to participate, then go ahead and run and go through the election cycle. So if you don't get appointed, don't be upset, and don't be upset with us, because we're just, you know, we're doing the best we can, but allow the voters to make a decision if you have that continued desire and interest. And we wish you well, and we thank all 4 of you for stepping up and coming before us and telling us a little bit about you, so it can help better inform us to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. City Manager, can I ask you one more question? Seat 2 is for how many years?
It'll be a 4-year term.
Okay, and seat 3 will be a 4-year term?
It's the remainder of, it's a 2-year term. It's going to be the remainder of Commissioner Lindauer's term.
Okay, and then also, I don't know if we want to, at this time right now, is Vice Mayor seat 1? Whatever seat you are, do I understand your term is up this year?
Not that I know of. Again?
Yes.
Really?
I believe so, yes.
So,
Oy vey. Okay.
okay, I'm sorry, right. Is that correct? Is that correct, City Clerk?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't know.
So now the person who fills seat 3, that's gonna count as a full term. So they will only be able
Well,
to.
No.
We'll get, yeah,
It's very complicated, but if the person you put in seat 3 tonight,
Not for those 10, not until November, but I mean,
Well-
if they get elected, it'll be,
it's convoluted.
yeah,
okay.
it's like who's on first. Do you want to
Yes.
go over
I
homework?
can
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to,
Okay, the way the charter is written, if you serve more than a half-term, now, the
Which a
10-month
half-term is 2
period
years.
is 2 years. That 10-month period, the way it's written, it gets tagged on to that. So, if someone is appointed for, in these, whomever is going to be appointed, the 2 people, that's going to be a 10-month term. If they then, one of them runs for the 2-year term, the 10-month plus the 2-year term will constitute more than a half, and therefore, they would have basically just a little under 7 years that they'd be able to serve, as opposed to,
To seat 2.
yes.
Yeah, we've gone over this several
would be
times.
Yeah.
Okay.
but the
that's-
person that you appoint to seat 3 tonight, come June, can qualify for seat 2 if they want the 4-year term rather than the 2-year term. So,
Or seat 1.
or seat 1, yes.
And oust me.
So, it's a little convoluted, and we've had long discussions about how does this impact someone, and because it will matter come June.
And I put that in my opinion, so if anybody is
Wants to
interested.
know, and
you
if
can
there's
just
any
request
questions
it.
from anyone here tonight, remember, anybody else out there listening tonight, any residents that meet those qualifications, whether you've tried for this appointment or not, can apply for that. So, wide open. All right, well, I think we probably need a health break. Is there any other questions? Okay, this section of the workshop is now adjourned, and we will see you back here at 6 o'clock for the regularly scheduled meeting. Thank you.